Hello and welcome back to my new podcast called Friends in 3D. My name is Katya and this is actually the season finale. That's episode 10 of my podcast. And I'm very, very happy to welcome my today's guest. She is a very special person. She is a wonderful artist and photographer and the stereo photographer and the creator of magnificent stereo drawings that we are, I hope, going to discuss today. Her name is Vanessa and thank you so much, Vanessa, for coming today, and hello.
Hello, and thanks for inviting me, and thanks for having me here. And it's really a great honor to be here, and I'm really happy.
Yes, so am I, absolutely. I'm really thrilled. Before talking about stereoscopy and photography and art, I just wanted to ask you a couple of words about yourself. You know, whatever you would like to share with us. What are your interests? What can you tell about yourself?
Yeah, sure. I'm 43 and I live in Aachen in Germany, which is right on the border to Belgium and the Netherlands, which is really quite nice. And I live here with my wife for 20 years and we have 3 cats, which I sometimes share on Instagram. Many of you might know them. And for a living, I work as a spokeswoman for a local energy company. And before that, I used to be a social media manager. So that's why I'm always interested in all that social media stuff. And that was the reason why I volunteered for the NSA 3D Con and now the VSC, because I still love the social media work and I'm quite keen on that.
Yeah, that's wonderful, and I think it's so great that that you did it because it was a chance to connect the NSA community and the Instagram stereo community even more. Of course, there were already some connections, but I think you really facilitated in this link between these two groups of people.
But it wasn't only my work; there were several others really helping with that, especially David Kunz, and so it's not all my work.
yes. So all of you guys. Yes. So I was just wondering because just judging by your art and your stereo photography, you must be a very visual person. So I was wondering if you were also interested in photography and in art before just encountering stereo photography and before diving into this hobby.
Actually I took quite a lot of photos when I was younger with my old analog camera and with film, and I'm very old fashioned because I was quite young at that time and there weren't any digital cameras, at least not the ones I could afford at that time. And I liked most to take photos of people and graveyards. I really like that a lot. Black and white photos of graveyards. I got plenty of those, but they're all on film and I haven't digitalized them yet. So that might be a project for later. And the drawing started, I guess, 10 years ago, and I went to an art class to learn a bit about it. Well, to be honest, I'm not utterly talented with painting or drawing people or faces. I always tried, but later it was more abstracts and it was just for fun. It's been a while now and I've got some canvas in the basement hidden, and sometimes I have them on the wall and switch them and have another one from the basement up in a room. So we have those here.
I see. Yeah, that's wonderful. I also loved taking photos before the digital era because my parents had a very nice Zenith camera, which is like Soviet camera, and so I took some pictures with it. But then I had point and shoot cameras, which were not bad. So I really liked it. But I think that only with stereos I kind of found my way of capturing things.
And I think it's really different if you take a normal mono picture or stereo, because you just have to look for different things or different objects.
Yes, absolutely. So how did you encounter stereoscopy? So what was your story?
my story is I've been on Twitter for many years, and I followed Brian, and I was always wondering why he posted 2 images side by side, and I never understood what he did, and I read about it, but I didn't really get what he wanted. And later on I read about it on his website. I thought, oh, that's interesting, and I downloaded the Masucci app, which was very useful. And I tried it, and but I wasn't part of any community. So it was all, just taking the pictures by myself or for myself. And they were, looking at them now, they were really, really bad, but I couldn't ask anybody. So they stayed there. And I think the point when I started to post them on Instagram and show them and got part of the community was maybe 2 years ago. And then I had my first one, which I shared, and I got a lot of help and encouragement from the community and from people who are now really good friends. And that's how it all started. And then, I slowly began to understand, and I'm still learning, and I still have some things I don't understand. I think most of us are still learners.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. I think I think that's what I actually love about it, that we are not pros, but we're just in a way we're all amateurs. But for me, it's a very liberating feeling, because I don't have to be perfect. Yes, I'm just doing it for fun.
Yeah, and I like the encouragement and the help you experience in the community, because sometimes when you're not sure about a photo that you posted, you get a nice comment, and maybe someone sends you a message saying, hey, you could improve this or that. And I'm always grateful for this help to just to get a bit better. The community is really lovely on Instagram.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. And I think that's when I joined Instagram and I started posting the first stereo photos, I didn't know anyone. And I was really actually wanting to ask somebody about the whole process, but because I had no idea what I was doing. And gradually I started meeting people, and it was so nice, because some people really guided me through this, especially through not as much through stereo as through the photo editing, because it's also something that I really didn't know. And so I learned some tricks, some very, very basic tricks of editing photos, and it's really helpful for me now.
Yeah. And I think that's maybe the only good thing of the pandemic, that we have all these Zoom calls, and we can connect on the internet now, when normally maybe we wouldn't have done that. And so that's the only good thing about the pandemic.
Yes, I agree. I love all our meetings and stereo clubs. They're all wonderful, and it's a great opportunity to see your stereo friends and at least have this conversation.
Yeah, and especially all over the world, and not only in your country, because when you have a club around the corner, or a meeting just in your country, it's still different to have a meeting with Tokyo or Canada or US. That's great.
Yes, absolutely. So moving on about your creativity, you are a creator of wonderful nebula drawings, and I wanted to ask you how did you come up with this idea, and what was your inspiration? And I'm very interested how do you plan it in terms, like, do you have any specific nebulas in mind, or are they all imaginary creations, just fantasies?
It's most of them are fantasy. When I start the drawing, I normally don't have a plan. Actually, I just started, and then I'll see how it turns out. Sometimes I have an idea what I want to draw. Sometimes it turns out the way I want it, sometimes not. But the whole process is always a bit different. And I was inspired by the book by Brian May and Dr. Eicher, the Cosmic Clouds 3D book. And when I saw it, I had the idea to draw a galaxy myself, and I did it with watercolor. Then I took a photo of it and tried to convert it, which obviously didn't work.
Yeah.
So I thought about getting an app for my iPad and started to draw digitally. And that was the beginning of my nebula drawings. I drew the one on the nebula on different layers and shifted them to get a nice 3D effect, which I thought was a very nice 3D effect. And Pascal Martinet asked me to write an article for his Stereosite blog about it. And I was very lucky that David Coons read the article and came up to me and said, hey, why don't you try a different method by using depth maps, and we could create more interesting nebula with that. And that's what I did. And he showed me how to work with Photoshop and how to do all that. Yeah, how to do the depth maps and how to get the composition right. And so we still work on a lot of Nebula now together. I'm quite happy about that.
Yeah, I just want to say you guys have such a wonderful collaboration that I think it's great to see, you know, like the combination of your talent as an artist and David's talent as a photographer and as, you know, his knowledge of stereoscopy.
Yeah, it's always very inspiring. Even when I have a drawing, I normally show it and say, what do you think we can that would work as a 3D one, and then we exchange some thoughts about it, and then I do the depth maps and we talk about it, and in the end he always finds something to improve. When I think I'm finished, he always finds something, but in the end the result is really great, and I like working with him and the inspiration I got. So
yes, that's wonderful. It's a wonderful. You are a wonderful team, and always looking forward to your projects.
Thank you.
Yeah. I saw some other digital drawings that were not nebulas on your Instagram too. So are you also trying to master this kind of drawings too? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I thought after I think we did 13 nebula drawings now, and I thought it might be nice to have something different and try something different. And the easiest thing was to try abstracts in 3D for a start. I like the results. I'm still quite keen on them, but after doing 3 or 4, I kind of missed my nebula. So I went back, and yeah, I think and it's much more demanding to draw the nebula. Some of them are done really quickly, like in 2 or 3 hours or even shorter, and on some I work a lot longer, and the abstracts are really quick. They're ones you can just do while watching TV, and I missed the other stuff, so I went back, and I think in the next month it will be a mixture of both, I think.
Yeah, well, I'm really looking forward to this. And I think nebulas, there is something so amazing about nebulas, and especially the fact that it's something that we mostly cannot see with our, naked eye. We have to have some kind of a telescope. But when you see them, and you see those pictures, 3D or 2D, they are so fascinating. They are just absolutely amazing, and you even cannot comprehend that they're the size of them. They are just enormous. Yeah.
Yeah, I could stare at them for hours.
Mm-hmm. So, yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and the 3D Cosmic Clouds 3D book was so amazing to watch and to read, and I spent a couple of hours looking at the images there and got inspiration for my drawings.
Yes. Well, that's wonderful. That's really wonderful. So, speaking of Dr. Brian May and Queen, because of course for all of us it's both stereoscopy and Queen, they are very connected. So again, what was your story? How did you? Was it recently that you became a fan of Queen and Brian, or was it more like long time? Long
decades
time
ago.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm a Queen fan for 30 years now, and I started with when I was 13, and my first album was Innuendo, which was released in '91, and I got it on cassette, and I thought, oh, what a great band! I love it. Well, unfortunately, Freddie died that year, and the tribute concert, and I really remember watching it on German television. And when Brian sang "Too Much Love Will Kill You," that was the moment I thought, okay, I'll become a fan for the rest of my life. And it stayed like that. And after school, I decided to spend a year in London as an au pair. And I was very lucky that it was the year when Another World was released. So I had so many opportunities to see concerts and get all that stuff and visit all the venues Queen went to. And the Kensington Market was still there at that time. And I was there with my friend who happened to be a Roger Taylor fan. So we spent many evenings or afternoons at the Queen fan club. which was in Barnes at that time, and you could visit Jackie and Val, and we've been there every week, I guess, just to have a chat and look through all the photos they had there. And well, it was just a really, really great time. And yeah, like I said, 1998 was just the best time to be in London for me. Great decision.
Yeah, well, it's amazing. It's really amazing. I didn't know about that you actually saw Brian this early, and because sometimes I'm really mad at myself because 1998 was the year, that was the last year I lived in Moscow. After that, I immigrated. But actually, that was the year when he came to Moscow with another world tour. And back then, I really didn't know about him. So of course, I knew about Queen, but I was a Queen fan also around 1991, 1992, so around the time when Freddie died, and I listened to their music a lot. But then I kind of, switched to other music, and even though I still love them very much, I couldn't say that I was a fan of them until 2017. So that's when I fell in love with them again. Yeah, so so it's so great to hear that that actually some people that saw Brian's, especially Another World tour, because Another World is so special, to me, like as an album. I'm really looking forward to the re-release. Yeah,
yeah, but to both albums, a very strong emotional connection, because the Back to the Light one was the first one and my first concerts ever I went to. I was 14 then, I think, and it was it was just great just to see him live. It was the Rock am Ring Festival, and I went there with my mom because I was obviously too young to go on my own, and she waited with me for about 10 hours at the front row to see Brian for 45 minutes, and it was really a great show, and I really loved it. And at that time you had a lot of on MTV, you saw a lot of documentaries and a lot of interviews, and I spent hours and hours sitting there and trying to record everything on VHS, and I still have all that stuff. But I don't have. I have a player somewhere, but obviously the quality is so bad after all the years that I don't dare to watch it anymore. But I spent most of my teenage years collecting stuff of Brian. Crazy, isn't it?
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. I think, well, it really reminds me of my youth. We didn't have a VHS back then, but at some point we bought a 2-cassette recorder. I mean, the boombox, and and it was very nice because it could actually record straight from the radio. And so I don't know how many cassettes I had with the songs that I would record from the radio, because obviously, well, as you remember, there was no YouTube, no Spotify, nothing like this. And if you wanted to have some songs, you would record them from radios. And I think I even had like the parts of I'm Going Slightly Mad and of The Show Must Go On somewhere, and not even the complete songs, because like you hear the first chorus and you press play, press record. So it would be just.
And we were always hoping that the host wasn't talking at the point when you started recording, or just started to talk when the song wasn't at the end. That was really the worst, when you just hope to get the whole song.
Well,
funny days.
Yes, absolutely.
And it's nice to talk with someone who knows all that, because I think sometimes I feel like the dinosaur of Instagram, because they're all so much younger, and maybe some of them can't even imagine how it was without social media or mobile phones on all that stuff. And it sounds like the old lady talking about the good old days now.
Yeah, well, same with me. When I teach, and when I talk to my students, and when I tell them about the cassette players, the record players, they look at me as if I'm from Stone Age.
But it wasn't all bad.
No, it wasn't.
It was really fun, and some things were even better, because it was more exciting to get and collect things.
Yeah, I think you really had to make an effort to get to find some music to record it, or to like in my case, since I grew up in Soviet Union, and it was I was very lucky because when I was a teenager, at that point we already had some music being sold in the kiosk and in the shops, but it was still hard to get like the real one, the legit one. So there were lots and lots of pirated stuffs, and lots of cassettes would be just copied, from other people's cassettes, and you would actually end up with this music that would speed up because of this continuous dubbing and
yeah,
and
yeah, right. The copy of the copy is not
very
copy
good. Of the copy, yeah. So in a way, it was fun. So I was wondering if music, it doesn't have to be Queen, but if music anyhow influences your own creativity, yes, and like if it's are they two separate things? Yes, so like your love for music and your creativity as a photographer and as an artist.
Well, I don't think there's a very close connection. I sometimes listen to music when I draw something, but I don't feel inspired by any songs that I hear the song and I think now I need to draw something connected to that or relating to that. It's more the other way around. I have a drawing and then I immediately think of a song that would go with it. So it's more the other way around. But music is still a very important part of my life, and I really regret that I'm utterly untalented and can't play any instruments. I can't sing. I just can listen to it. But I do that quite a lot, and I listen a lot to Queen, and but I have several other bands I really like, and I spend several hours just sitting there and listening and drawing, and still like.
I think it's interesting that many of my friends who are artists say that sometimes they listen to music while drawing, and for me, when I write my essays, I actually I cannot listen to anything, even though they like music really inspires me. So sometimes I write about music and I write about certain albums or certain songs, but I cannot listen to them while I'm writing because it's really distracting for me. Like,
yeah, I know what you mean. I thought with when I have to write something, I can't listen to music at all because I'm just listening and then I forgot what I wanted to write. But with drawing, it's different. But I have to listen to something which is not my mother tongue. If I'm listening to a German song, that's much more difficult to me not to be distracted. Yeah,
absolutely. That's same with me. Same with Russian. So Russian is much more distracting for me than English is. And like if it's a language that I hardly know, like I know a little bit of German, but it's not distracting for me at all. And if I don't understand anything, that's fine. Yeah, or instrumentals.
Yeah, that's why I like Spanish songs a lot because I don't understand it. They always sound nice and don't understand a word. That's good.
Yeah, but it's so interesting. How do we act as creators? Yes, and how we are affected by different things and that surround us, and this including the people and the art that inspires us. So, as a stereo photographer or as an artist, do you have any dream and ambition? So, what do you hope to achieve?
Oh, that's a difficult question. I don't think I'm ambitious enough to have anything to achieve. But I think what I really like to show my art or share it with others. And I still hope that sometimes or some things I do are a bit of an inspiration for others and a bit of encouragement to just try things, whether you're good or not, because that's what I do. I just tried it and it worked out. Sometimes it doesn't, but it doesn't matter as long as it's fun. So I hope that's I can inspire some people just to try themselves out.
That's really wonderful. And also another question that I ask everyone because I'm very curious about it. What does it mean to you to be a fan? Because I think it's being a fan of a band, of rock music, or not necessarily of music, of anything. I think it's a little bit different from just admiring something or just liking something. I think it's much more like active state of mind. Yes, and I would be just interested to hear your opinion on this.
Yeah, I think being a fan for most parts of my life, it is a part of me, because I can't imagine being Vanessa without being a Brian fan. As crazy as it sounds, but it's in my memory it's always been like that, and I guess it will always stay like that. It's just a part of me, and I wouldn't want to miss it.
Yeah. And I think it's again, even though as you said, it's music doesn't directly inspire you to draw, but in a way, Brian did inspire you to draw. Yes, because that was his.
Sure.
Stereos come from him, and the Cosmic Clouds also. That's his book. So that's that's interesting.
The base, the Brian. I think Brian is the basic inspiration for photography and the drawings. And then I started it, so he definitely is. But not. I don't have him in mind on every single drawing, but he's somehow still there. Back in the mind.
Well, that's really wonderful. And one more thing that I wanted to ask you. So what does it mean to you to be a part of our stereoscopic community? So doesn't it inspire you? Does it, how do you see it?
I'm really, really happy to be a part of the community now, because I've viewed many of the images for a long time, and then maybe left a like, but I was never active because I thought they were all so good, and I would never be so good like all of them, and I didn't dare to contact anybody. And now I'm really glad to be a part of it, because they are all so nice and wonderful, and there are so many talented people out there. And it's always really an inspiration to look at those images and stereos you find on Instagram, and there are always new ideas and new perspectives and things I would never have thought about before. And then I see it and think, wow, that's really, really great and amazing. Quite honored to be a tiny part of that community. That's fantastic.
Yes, absolutely. I agree. And I think especially in this last year and a half of coronavirus pandemic, I think it was such a it became just a vital part of my life, because it is a way of connecting with people and of participating in all this, online activities.
Yes, especially in the times when we were all isolated at home. And you couldn't do anything else, but you knew there were friends out there on social media that you can connect with, and that you can share things you like.
That's really wonderful. Well, thank you so much for agreeing to talk to me. Thank you so much for sharing your story and your journey in 3D and in art. It was so great. And if you're listening to this on Spotify, please check Vanessa's Instagram page. I will put it into the description. She's so talented. Her drawings are just amazing, and her stereos are very beautiful too. So thank you so much, Vanessa. And I think it's so great that you actually, close this season 1 of my Friends in 3D podcast. And I'm really, really happy to have you as a guest.
Thank you, Katja. And I was really happy that you invited me. So thanks a lot for having me here. I'm looking forward to season 2, but I think there are some more people I would like to hear of.
I'm also looking forward to this, and it was such an inspirational journey for me as well, and I really loved every minute of it. So thank you so much.
I appreciate all the work you've done. That's really amazing. Thanks a lot, Katja.